Hi, morning. So I'm in first thing this morning into the office, getting started on the week after the bank holiday. And if you're in that position or you've come into work after a little bit of a break, there's always that sense of, there's a lot going on. And I try and practice the tools that we share with all of you, myself, and certainly in these situations, they really help, and particularly the idea of grounding. And that's what this video is about. Now, grounding, you may have come across that word, you may not have. Grounding is not the way to deal with all your problems. A grounding tool or exercise won't remove the things that you're battling with. It won't sort your bank balance out. It won't work you through past stress. It won't enable you to overcome a particular problem. But what it does is it settles you so that you can think and see clearer. When you're anxious, there's a number of things going on. Your body is alerting you to a threat. So there's all this cortisone and adrenaline running around your body, and it's saying, look at this threat, see this threat. That's one of our most basic human needs, to recognize threat and to be safe. Your body wants you to be safe. Your brain wants to alert you to threats to your safety. Now, the problem with anxiety is we will worry about things that might not happen. And sometimes, say like a tiger is running towards you, yes, that's a threat. But if I'm worrying about a job interview that hasn't happened yet, and my brain is alerting me to threat, this might not go well. Well, it might go well as well. So me being able to think clearly is key. And more often than not, the key idea with anxiety is not to listen to that shouty voice saying, you have to focus on this. And instead, let me just take a moment. So you may have heard somebody say, just take a breath. It's a grounding exercise. Tools and techniques like a stress ball. It's a grounding exercise. Becoming present. We use mindfulness a lot, and the basic idea of mindfulness is to be in the present moment, and that's a way of grounding yourself. So in this video, I'm going to take you through a few of the things that I do that help me, and also explain this idea of grounding a little bit more. Now, grounding, how does it work to start with? Well, the thing that we've used more often than not is the idea of a snow globe. And if you watch this video now, our stress and tension shakes us up. And we designed this during COVID, when you remember you got all of those press conferences where somebody would say something and your entire world would get turned upside down. Here's a new rule or a new thing or a new situation to deal with, and it was stressful and difficult. Now, I could have reacted in the moment to those things, but the best thing I could do is enable things to sink in, to take a moment, and then to see life a bit clearer. It's a little bit like when you were at school and somebody would say to you, just count to 10. Again, that's a grounding tool, but it's in a little bit more detail, enabling you to find those ways to settle yourself. And for many of us, that's quite elusive. If you've ever reacted impulsively, if you've ever done something and then wished you'd taken a moment and you wished you'd gone a bit slower, if you've ever made an impulse decision or reacted to something or someone, sent an email or a text that you wish you hadn't and wish you could take it back. All those things happen because of all that stuff whizzing around your body. So the best thing we can do is slow, is stop, is take a moment. And those are the three essential elements of a grounding tool. Slow myself down, take some time, enable myself to settle. Slow myself down, take some time, enable myself to settle. So let me take you through a few of those. Slowing myself down. When we're stressed, everything's kind of happening. And I'm particularly aware this is a weakness of mine, that everything speeds up. And when I find myself going faster, I've taught myself over time through the things that I've been through in my own mental health to slow. So the easiest way to do that is just to allow your body to slow. So you're feeling anxious and stressed. Maybe you're waiting for something, you're in a queue. A breath. Oxygen coming into your body, into your brain, slows you. Noticing that a heart rate and how quick your breathing is or how shallow your breathing is. Just try and slow everything down. I even try and slow my voice, the way I talk, the way I think. Just take a moment. If you watch the football over the summer and people taking penalties, you'll notice there's a breath before they go and kick the ball, just to calm yourself, to slow yourself. So if you can do anything to slow yourself down, that's a win. Slow. Slow. The next thing is you want to try and go and act. Stop. Just take a minute. You can even set a minute on your clock, on your phone. You know, you've had a text from somebody, a message, and it's really irritated you, or challenged you, or worried you, and you want to just go, I'm going to take a minute. And sometimes I just take time. And again, a breath can help you. And we'll look at breathing in a moment. But just stopping enables you just to take a moment. And then the last thing is settling. And there are many ways to do that, and we'll look at a few things. But sometimes the biggest thing is just to ask yourself, right, why am I worried? Good questions like, what's in my control? What could I do next? What's helpful or harmful here? All those things really help us in this kind of situation. Taking some time to settle ourselves. So, slow, quieten down, stop, just take a moment, maybe even set a clock on your phone, and then settle. Why am I worried? Why am I anxious about this? Why do I want to say that? What's in my control? All those kind of things can be really, really helpful. Now, I mentioned breathing, and that's your kind of like stock in trade grounding technique. You will have seen, if you've watched any television programs like Casualty, and they say, just take some breaths. Or if you've ever been in a stressful situation with a medical professional, and they'd say, take some time, take a breath. So breathing can be your basic settling and grounding tool. Get yourself comfortable where you're sitting. This is the one, I do this every morning, and I'm going to do this at the start of my day. Allow yourself just to take a moment to be still. Try and slow yourself. I sometimes will pick a point on the wall to focus on. You can close your eyes if you want to. And then I'll become aware of the physical aspects of my breathing. So the one I notice most of all is the movement of my rib cage. And sometimes getting started with slow, relaxed breaths is hard. So doing a big sigh. And then the next breath is okay. And then you begin to notice that movement. If you want to, Put your fingers together on your abdomen, and as you breathe out, they separate, and they breathe in, they come together. Those physical things can really help us notice. So you're focusing your attention on all the physical things happening as you're breathing. The feel of air coming in and out of your mouth or nose, the movement of your rib cage, maybe the pull down of your diaphragm as you begin to breathe. What I'd like you to do now is we're just going to put an image on the screen, and I'd just like you to notice and follow all those physical aspects of your breathing for a couple of minutes. Wonder how you found that. When we breathe in that kind of gentle way, there are three things going on. Firstly, in itself, it's relaxing, and you can try and slow it as much as you can. There's something called box breathing, where you imagine going round a box, and on one side is in, one side is out, one side is in, one side is out. You can try counting. I have a little bit of asthma, so I find that a little bit hard, but others can count 3 in, 3 out, 1, 2, 3, like that, or even 4. I don't tend to do that, but if that's something that's useful. Finding something that gives you a rhythm, like the movement of trees if you're in a park and you're seeing them move. Or music can help you. Anything like that. But focusing on that slows you. What's also happening is that oxygen is coming into your body, and particularly into your brain. And you imagine everything is tensing up. That oxygen, it will make you feel calmer. If you've ever felt slightly lightheaded when you're stressed, that's a lack of oxygen getting in there. Oxygen getting in there will help you. And then the third thing that's happening is it's very present. So you're getting yourself into the now. And more often than not, our worries are in the past or the future. We're worrying about something that's happened and kind of dragging it with us. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish that hadn't taken place. I've messed up there. Like kind of shame and kind of fear that comes from that. It's very, very human, but it's not very helpful. Or we're worrying about the future. We call this anticipatory stress. We're thinking about all the things that's to come, and we're panicking about what might happen if that or that. We haven't lived that yet. If you can get into the now, then often the now is less threatening. And breathing can help us do that. But as you do that, you'll find yourself relaxing. You might even feel a little bit tired. Many people, when they do a lot prolonged breathing exercise, might fall asleep, and that's okay. But you're enabling yourself to settle. And breathing is one of your most basic kind of ways of finding a grounding tool that works for you. I often think about, as I breathe in, what do I need? And as I breathe out, what can I give? But there's a number of different ways that you can do that. If you look at our website, there's a whole bunch of stuff on breathing that you can find. but also things like Headspace and Calm, great places to go and find breathing tools. If you look at their YouTube channels, you'll be able to find loads. But if you go to spacetoBreatheUK.com, you'll be able to find a lot more about breathing exercises and breathing tools. Let me try 2 more things that can help you around grounding. I mentioned a stress ball. Something physical often really helps. And I used to be quite skeptical about these till I saw them used by a counsellor when I was shadowing them. And the lady said to the person she was working with, when you feel stress, just imagine yourself squeezing the stress into the ball, and it really helped. And obviously there's something quite rhythmical about that too. You can breathe alongside this. But some of us are more physically orientated in the way that we process our emotions, and so something like this makes sense. Or a stone. Our new pause packs, I've got one of them here. They're going to be on the website and available, but they have within them a holding triangle, which again, something physical to move around, a fidget spinner, anything like this, just enabling you to just settle in. I'm putting my worries into this, and that fidgeting can sometimes really, really help. It's a really good grounding tool. Squeezing your stress into the stress ball. And there are lots of other things that you can do. You might find exercise helps you, or walking. You might find doing something physical with your hands, like being creative or cooking. I find kneading bread dough, making bread dough really helps relax and ground me. Again, it's getting you into the moment, but it's finding what your language is. Have a think, if you can, about how you process your emotions. Is it words? Is it images? Is it more physical and tactile? Is it something that you experience in your body? And then try and apply your grounding techniques and tools to that. Sometimes it could be, if you feel it in your body, relaxing that tension can help you. If you're imagining it in your mind, writing down the things that you're going through can be the process. If you see it in images, having positive image that helps you relax, or visualizing a calming place like a beach or a river or a place that's important to you. All these techniques and tools enable you to settle, to slow, and to stop, and can open up that idea of seeing the world a little bit clearer. So lastly, I want to talk about being present. Now, I've mentioned this idea that in the past and the future, a lot of the things we worry about exist there rather than in the now. The only time you can actually affect is now. I got myself this cup of coffee this morning, and it's amazing how often I will buy a cup of coffee in the morning and just drink it without really thinking about it. But as I drink it, if I'm mindful and present in it, I can think about the bitter taste of it that I quite like. The kind of like different flavors that are in it. I take my coffee black and I like that kind of taste. I like the warmness of the cup, and temperature's a really good thing. So having a warm cup of tea and holding it, or coffee, putting a cold can of Coke on your chest here, both those things can be really grounding, bringing you back into the present. But being present is essentially saying, this moment, I'm going to live it, I'm going to appreciate it. And it's the only one you can affect as well. If you've got 20 things to do and you're feeling overwhelmed, start with the one you can do now and then go into the next one and the next one. If you've ever seen the film The Martian, at the end of it, Matt Damon's character, who survived, talks about solving one problem at a time. So I solved the first problem, and then I solved the next problem, and then I solved the next problem, and then I solved the next problem. That's a very present way of living. And grounding tools can bring us into the present. So I'm maybe worrying about something that's happened in the past. I'm just going to take a moment to be present. Maybe I'm just going to hold my coffee cup and I'm going to feel the temperature. Or I'm going to become aware of my surroundings, and I might want to note 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, and maybe put a name to the taste that's in my mouth. I could push my feet into the ground and notice that I'm here, I'm present, or maybe put my hands on my lap. I could actually put my hand here on my chest and feel the movement of my breathing. Anything that brings you into the now. And my biggest encouragement to you, if you struggle with anxiety and stress, is try and be as present as possible. So what can I do now? How does this affect me now? And if it's in the future, sometimes we have to plan, yes. But what's the impact right now? What do I need to do now? How can I affect this now? And if I can't, maybe I need to leave it for a little bit. But enabling ourselves to be present is a key idea in grounding. This thing's affecting me, but I can't change the past. What's the impact now? What do I feel now? And again, slowing yourself. I'm feeling that sense of cortisol and adrenaline saying, look at that thing that's happened in the past. Look at that, what it did. Look at the effect it had. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm here now. What can I do about it now? And the ability to put things behind us, or to live not live the future, but live the present and wait for the future to happen. And be open to possibilities that it might go better than we think, is a key idea to grounding and managing our stress. You can find loads more about grounding again on our website. But the key kind of idea that I want to leave with you is that of stopping, of slowing, and of settling ourselves. It doesn't solve our problems, but it enables us to see them clearly. And to make decisions, I think, that we will believe in a bit more and that we won't regret, and that will feel a little bit more in keeping with what we think we want out of life, and ultimately will manage our stress and our anxiety a lot better. I hope that's really helpful. Our details are on the end of this video if you want to get in contact with us. If we can talk to you about grounding and settling, we're really happy to do that. But in the meantime, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.